Good morning, WCR replays. This is Orange back for another audio commentary. I know it's been a longer while than usual, but I've been a little busy. And to be more honest, I've been a little lazy. So, yeah. So today I thought I'd bring you guys an undead mirror because I haven't seen one done in a while. And, I mean, since Frey left, I guess. So I figured I'd cover just the basic Lich Ghouls against DK Fiends, because those are pretty much like the only two playstyles that really are important in the pro scene, I guess. So, and they're like the most contrasting, so I figured, hell, why not? So here we are with this replay. This is actually a fantastic replay. It's not my usual innovative strategy type thing. It's not hugely action-packed, but it is freaking Gosu. Like, the moves that are pulled off in this game and the micro is just incredible, and like decision making is fantastic. So is the ending, actually. Of course, I'll talk about stupidity in the end too, but that's not as important yet. So, 45-second mark. Fav's point of view. We'll get this unpaused in 3, 2, 1. Unpause. All right, so the basic build order is going on for both players. Obviously, Lucifer is going to be doing the Fiend build. I will be covering the Lich Ghoul build a little more than, or the Lich Ghoul strategy with the gargoyles and the sexiness a little more than the Fiends, because I'm not really a huge Fiend user myself. Unless, well, it's situational, but never an undead mirror. So, generally, I like to close off my base build a little more than this. But, you know, if you know the player well enough to figure, oh, they're going to be going Fiends, like Lucifer, then you don't really have to build your base as closed off as, well, Lucifer's doing. But, you know, you don't want to be doing that kind of an open build against ghouls, because they can just send, like, 3 or 4 in while you're out creeping, and, like, if they catch you creeping something like the bottom left gold mine, and they just send the ghouls over to your gold mine, they're going to pick off 3 or 4 acolytes before you can even get back there. And screw that if they lose their ghouls. They've gained so much of a gold advantage that, like, really doesn't matter. And ghouls are pretty cheap, and they don't give that much EXP. But, you know, whatever. Lucifer's kind of doing actual... I know I'm covering his build right now. So keep the Fog of War off, because I'm going to be bouncing back and forth. But what he's doing is kind of interesting. He's doing more of a harassment fiend build so that he gets an earlier hero. And that's going to kind of not really play an important part of this. But, you know, it's kind of a different kind of build. I thought it was interesting. But I'm still partial to the Lich Ghoul thing. Now, what Fav is doing is actually kind of a quick tech build, which allows him to get enough wood and gold to be able to tech to Tier 2 with very little gold spent. So that's a good thing to keep in mind if you want to be doing kind of a quicker tech build. Generally, if you're going to be doing the Ghoul Garg thing, do the quicker tech build, especially against Fiends, because... you know, if they don't have web, what are they going to counter you with? Towers, exactly. And we will actually see that come into play. So, generally with the Lich, you want to go in and harass, but it's always important to creep. In, like, Lich Mirror, that's the most important time to be creeping, but against Ghoul Fiends, you kind of want to get a few Fiend harassment kills here and there. Now, that was kind of weird. I figured he'd just attack that creep and then get the kill, but you know, whatever. Also, he played it safe and decided to go with the Frost Nova use. Generally, early game, it doesn't really matter that much, but I kind of think it's important not to waste too many Frost Novas unless it's like absolutely necessary early game, until you get to the little Dark Ritual, which then you can actually start sacrificing things for mana, which is generally when you want to start being a little more aggressive, because you'll have a little more mana disposable to you, and then you can actually, you know, make up for all the crap that you've used mana-wise. So, as is important, always try and deny ghoul kills. Of course, in this case, he kind of denies it a little too weirdly. You can watch the ghoul if you want, because Lucifer kind of leaves it alone, and then it just kind of runs away into there anyways. But yeah, anyways, what he's going to do is continue his onslaught of creeping. Now, generally, against a Fiend player, you can actually be really, this is going to sound weird, but like offensive creeping, which is basically where you like run up to their creeps and you start creeping them off, so that it makes it a little harder for them to actually creep. And then the more that they creep, the more they're going to be exposed. And by that I mean they won't be able to, hide in their base as much and still be able to get enough EXP. Like, when you're camping in your base and you figure they're nearby, like they're creeping, I don't know, your gold mine or something, you could be out creeping the lab or the stupid apprentice wizards or something that you can draw near to your base, because that way it's a little harder to get creep jacked, and then if you do get creep jacked, it's not as bad. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that if you creep off their creep camps, they're going to have to go way out in the open, and then they're risking losing a TP. Or wasting a TP. Wasting, same thing. Anywho, at this point of the game, Lucifer's just barely started his tech, but what he has done is he's set up a spirit tower, and for some reason I didn't think, it would make that much of a difference, but obviously Fob thinks it makes a big enough difference to not go and start building gargoyles early enough and start harassing. But the way he plays this is actually a little different. And right now he's going for the boots and the staff of teleportation. Reason being, you kind of want mobility on your Lich. Anyways, I would have woken up the creeps first and then come in. That's just me. Anyways, what was I saying? Something about gargoyles, right? Generally, you don't really need to get gargoyles until tier 3 when they start getting destros, because ghouls do so much damage to fiends anyways that it doesn't really matter. If you do have ghoul frenzy, that's pretty much when you start raping fiends so hard. Reason being, you have so much more mobility on them, and that's why the Frost Nova works so well with the ghouls, because you can Frost Nova stuff and then you can swarm their fiends and pick them off one by one or whatever. Or you do kind of a surround type thing, which is where you pretty much get around their whole army, and then it's kind of painful for them to micro stuff out. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Also, the Undead Mirror is a tricky matchup, and the reason being is that most of this matchup is based on countering their type of micro. I'll get into that a little bit more, but that's why this matchup is so hard, and that's why if you're a little bit better than your opponent, you're just going to destroy them. But what I mean by countering types of micro is the Fiend micro, or the Fiend DK thing. You're going to be attacking and then maybe webbing a couple gargs and then moving a little bit back and then hoping to try and not get as much damage dealt to you as possible, and try and keep your mobility, do as much damage as possible in a couple waves, pick off one unit, run away a little bit, pick off another unit, run away a little bit. It's kind of like a flanking technique, for those of you who know what flanking is, which you should. And that's kind of the opposite of the ghoul lich thing, because really what you want to do with the ghoul and the lich is just overwhelm them with how many ghouls you have / gargoyles, and then what you do is you kind of get such good positioning around their base, or around their units, that they won't be able to move, and then they lose a whole bunch of stuff in the meantime. So he's picked up the DK second kind of early, I thought. Generally I like to pick it up usually when I hit level 3 with the Lich. That way I can actually get level 2 Frost Nova, guaranteed. And then start trying to save my hero. By the way, I didn't really mention it, but nice sapper kill. And I will point out one thing, is that Lucifer did decide to do some more offensive creeping. And it doesn't really play that much of a role in this game, but I thought I'd point that out, is that if you can creep up your opponent's stuff, make sure that you have the army size to be able to take care of, being harassed while you're doing this. But, it's also an important technique to learn in the Undead Mirror. So anyways, as I was saying about micro styles, generally that's the most important part of the Undead Mirror. Of course, unit selection is important. Don't build ghouls if they're going frost worms, pure ghouls. But you also have to be aware of things like hero selection. If they go Dreadlord with Carrion Swarm, you have to be a little careful of that. You have to be careful if they go, Dark Ranger for Silence, and then you have to get something like Destroyers so you can devour the Silence. Stuff like that. Hero skills play a large part of how they're going to micro their army, so you really have to make sure,